Okay. So
So please check your messages. I have sent a photo of you.
So we started today's session with confidence interval. So I was telling about, I was trying to convey, let you know the meaning of the confidence interval, and the today's discussion we will cover mostly the proportion, the mean, the confidence interval estimation for the mean. We will discuss in the next class. So the proportion will be the part of today's discussion. So what we understood that we are more in the inferential statistics now. So we have a small sample and we are trying to estimate. First, we are trying to find out the sample statistic, and then we are trying to inference it, those values for the population parameter. So X bar and P hat, these are the sample estimates, whereas mu and P, these are denoted for the population parameter. So the point estimate is not the right choice in terms of making a bigger, inferences for a bigger population. So what is important here? Using the point estimate, we are trying to uh, find a range of, or find the interval that is known as the confidence level or confidence interval. So if the alpha value is 10% or 0.10, that means 90% of the confidence level. So if it is a 99% of confidence level, you need to consider the alpha value as a 1%, that is 0.01. So we have what I said, that mostly the confidence interval of 95% is the most common. It gives a kind of balance of the like between the precision and the reliability in terms of the findings in your result. So the critical values, I was in the bell curve, you have noticed that the critical values which separates the area of the which separates the region which is going to be accepted and which is not going to be accepted. So the critical value, we will find the critical value using the Z-score table. So you guys are now familiar with the Z-score table. So if take this example, like if the confidence level is 95%, that means the alpha value is 0.05. So if alpha value is 0.05, what will be the alpha by 2? It's a half of 0.05, that is 0.025. So what we wanted to know, that what is the value corresponding to the alpha value, Z value for the alpha by 2. So okay, let's go through this one by one. The confidence interval, I can switch to the board. Okay. It is here. Okay. So if the confidence interval is 95%, right? Or 90%. What will be the corresponding alpha value? 10%, that is 0.10. What will be the alpha by 2? That is the critical value in the case of calculating the confidence interval. In the case of calculation of the confidence interval, the critical value is also known as alpha by 2. This is the critical value. So what will be the alpha value, like alpha by 2? It will be 0.005. sorry, 0.05. And what will be the corresponding critical value Z alpha by 2? Use the Z table and find out the area left to the 0.05 in your Z table. You will get to know the application of Z alpha by 2 while we will do the sum or exercises, but just try to find out what is the corresponding Z value in the Z score table. For 0.05, right? You need to see the area. This is 0.05. So the left side area will be 1 minus 0. So what is like 0.95? What is the corresponding Z value? Exactly, it will come 1.645. That's why we have the critical value over here, 1.645. Not understanding? Okay, okay. I didn't get you. No, no, see, the 5% is in the right side, right? It will be positive. So it will be positive plus 1.645. It should not be negative. If you do the same thing for the 95%, the alpha value will be 0.05. And alpha by 2 will be 0.025. In that case, you need to see the value, find out the Z alpha by 2 value in your Z table. In this case, in the second case, this value will be 0.025 alpha by 2. And find out the corresponding value here. So this area will be 0.975, right? Yeah. So find out the critical value here for the 0.975, because this area is 0.025. This area will be the remaining area left side will be 0.975. So in your Z table, what is the value coming for? Coming for the 0.975. .975.
$1.97.
1.96 will be there. And if you do the same thing for the 99%, most commonly used is 95% confidence interval in most of the examples, but sometimes they can ask 99% confidence level or 91. So it's better to remember this table also. Not remember, but understand how they have come up with the Z-score, the critical value, especially while calculating the confidence interval. For the 99%, it will be 0.01. So the corresponding, the half value will be 0. How much it will be? .005, right?
Yeah.
So 0.005. If this area will be 0.005, find out the Z-score value. So it will be 0.995, right? Yes. Find out the Z-score value corresponding to 0.995.
2.57.
You will get 2.57. So if you see the slide, you have all these three values which we have calculated. We will see the application of these values, but these values are important because these are the critical values which will help us in calculating the confidence interval. So I'm going back quickly to the slide. Okay. So we have the three different, like mostly three different types of confidence interval: 90, 95, and 99. There is a question for you guys. Think about why we are not talking about 100% precision. Why we can't think about confidence level which belongs to 100%. Think about that one. If we are saying that 90% or 95% is will give the better precision in compared to 90%, right? Or 99% will be more confident, like we will be more confident, it will be better precision or more accurate. So why not we are thinking about 100% as a like confidence interval. So think about those lines. You will get the answer if you think properly. Okay, I was talking about the margin of error. In order to calculate the confidence interval, you need to understand what is the error in your observation. So margin of error is nothing but it's just like error in your observation. So when the data from a sample, random sample are used to estimate a population parameter, the margin of error denoted by E is the maximum likely differences or difference between the observed sample statistics and the true population parameter. And it is denoted by capital E. And how it is being calculated? The margin of error is found by multiplying two different items. The first one is the critical value Z alpha by 2. So in all the confidence interval, we are using the critical value as a Z alpha by 2, where alpha denotes the confidence interval. So the margin of error is calculated using this formula Z alpha by 2. That is your critical value multiply by. You remember the standard deviation SD of the proportion sample proportion. Since we are talking about the sample proportion, we are trying to understand the confidence interval estimate of the proportion. That's why we are using the term p hat over here. So if you multiply the critical value with the standard deviation of the proportion, sample proportion, you will get the margin of error, the differences between what you have observed and what is what is the true population parameters. So that differences will be known as the margin of error. Okay, let's go through like 5 steps we have in order to calculate the confidence interval for a population proportion P. The first, you need to check the requirement. Is that requirement of normally distribution is fulfilled or not? We have seen similar sort of requirement in the case of sampling distribution of mean and sampling distribution proportion. So first we will see that is that scenario or is that case is fulfilling the criteria of normal distribution or not. Then the second stage is we will try to find out the critical value. Critical value is just what we have understood on the whiteboard. For the 95% confidence interval, the question, the critical value which you have to use is alpha by 2, that is 1.96. And for the 99%, the critical value will be 2.57. Whereas for the 90%, it is 1.645. So that is the second stage. Find the critical value. These are the most common one. Then the third step will be calculate the margin of error. As I said, how to calculate the margin of error? In the previous slide we discussed about, you need to multiply your critical value, that is Z alpha by 2, with the standard deviation of the sample proportion. That will give you your margin of error. Stage 4 is you need to calculate the confidence interval, and that is the answer. Actually, idea is to calculate the confidence interval. Interval is the kind of range in which range the sample statistics lies, so that we can make an inference regarding the population parameter. With the examples, it will become more clear. We have 3 or 4 good exercise. And the stage number 5 is, once you have identified the confidence interval, you need to interpret that values in terms of like what expert advice you are going to give to someone who are looking for some solution. So that you need to be there is a certain way to interpret the findings. So that will be your stage 5.
Could we go back to the previous slide, please?
Okay, please ask.
Oh, yes. I was saying, can we go back to this slide? No, the slide number 14.
Okay, 14 is here, right?
Yeah.
This discussion is based on finding out CI, confidence interval estimate for the proportion. That's why in this formula we are using proportion P hat. Remember, at the beginning I said we don't have now any idea about population proportion, that is P. Because now we have a sample, and using the sample we are trying to interpret, we are trying to inference about the something about the population parameters. So now in the sample, what will be given? The sample proportion, that is P hat. And N is the number of sample size of your random sample. Through the example, you will come across, like you will come about this one in a better way. So you understood the 5 stages you have to follow in order to calculate the confidence interval of the estimate, sample estimate, confidence interval of sample estimate. So the stage 1 is regarding the requirements. You need to check these 2 requirements in order to proceed, before you proceed further. So what are the requirements has to be met? Sample has to be simple random sample for a population. You mean you are taking the sample at random from a population. That is the stage 1. You need, if you read the line, first line or second sentences of any of the question, probably they tell you about is that a kind of a random sample from a population or not. So it will be clearly mentioned in your exam, in your exercise or in your question. And the second condition is again very important. The sample size has to be large enough so that n into p hat or n into 1 minus p hat both has to be greater than equal to 5. Did you recall it? The same condition or requirement we have seen in the case of sampling distribution of proportion. So both are the same thing. So over here also we are talking about the distribution or sampling distribution of proportion, but we are trying to identify, we are trying to get the confidence interval. So once you meet the requirement, the second one is find the critical value. Critical value is the same as the Z score at alpha by 2. So when we will do the exercise, you will know the importance of alpha in a better way. But keep in mind, your critical value is the same as Z alpha by 2. Is the relevant to the confidence interval required. So that is the critical value. Stage 2. Step 3 is the margin of error. The same thing, yeah. Using this formula, you have to multiply the critical value with the standard deviation of sample proportion. That gives you kind of error or the margin of error. Stage 4 is now, this is the confidence interval. And it's very easy. It's like you have P hat, something at the middle, then to the left and to the right. So P minus E and P plus E. Go back here, go back to on the board. What interval they are asking? What is the interval here? So in the case of sample proportion, you have P hat. So P hat is somewhere here, right? And you calculated the margin of error E. So somewhere E is here, minus E is there. And you are interested in this interval. This is the confidence interval. So the confidence interval will be range, that is P minus E to P plus E. This is the range we are looking for. This is the interval we are looking for. Where is the critical value? Critical value is here or here. Critical values. So critical values divide the area which you are interested in, and which are you are not interested, which are acceptable, which is not acceptable. So it divides the critical value 1.96, right, or something like 2.3 or minus 1.96. For how much percentage of confidence? 1.96 value we have seen for 95%, right? For 95% it is. So if there is a case of you need to construct a confidence interval at 95% confidence level. So in that case, the critical value will lies between 1.96 to minus 1.96. So you need to find out this one. So what is important? Probably in the question, the p hat value will be given. You need to clearly see. You will clearly will be able to identify the p hat value, the sample proportion. What is important to calculate? E value, that is margin of error. So you have to apply the formula for the margin of error in order to calculate E. And the moment you calculate the E, just P plus E or P minus E will be your confidence interval. And then in this interval, what you are saying that 95% I am confident that the sample proportion, which the value, the estimate of the sample proportion will be as close to the population parameter. So that kind of inferences we are trying to get. Maybe again with the exercise it will be more clear. Let me go back to the slides. Okay. So the fourth stage is determine the interval, the confidence interval. That is P hat minus E to the P hat plus E, that in that range. And the final stage is you need to interpret those results, those findings. So this is a standard way how you interpret the findings. You just have a look on the syntax of this sentence. You have to say that we are, if the question it is given, you have to construct the confidence interval for 90%, you will say we are 90% confident. But if the question is about 99% confidence interval, then you will start like we are 99% confident that the interval from P minus E, the lower proportion value, P minus E to P plus E, that is upper proportion value. So we are 99% confident that the interval from P plus E to P minus E doesn't or does contain, either does or does not, does contain the true value of the population proportion P. Although P is not mentioned here, remember P is the population proportion. That is not in the question. It will not given the P value because the population proportion is unknown to us. That's why the importance of sample is here. We are using the sample proportion to interpret the values, this value for the population proportion. So we are 95% or 90% or 99% confident that interval from this P plus minus E to P plus E does contain the true value of the population proportion P. And that is the generalization. Using a sample statistics, we are generalizing, we are making a generalization for the population proportion. That is very, very important. Because you don't know, you don't have the data on the population proportion. But using a small sample, you are working on it, and then you have some sort of interpretation regarding how it could be look like the population proportion. Okay, still I can understand like there will be ambiguity in terms of understanding some of the term, but with the exercise, we have exercise 1, 2, and 3, and I'm sure with the exercise, everything will be fine. But before that, is there anything which you think is still not clear to you? You can speak now.
It makes sense.
Okay. Maybe how was your exam like? Was good? How it went? Not good?
It was challenging, but it was still doable.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think the more challenging part were the questions without like the numbers. Like the one we had to interpret the definitions. At least for me, those were more challenging.
I agree.
Yeah.
With you. I agree with you. That's why in the quizzes, what we did, like I gave you all the multiple choice questions. But sometimes what happens, no? Like you directly try to make a kind of conclusion by seeing the numbers and all.
Yeah.
I try to make it like I try to make a balance between these two. Like out of 27 questions, 12 questions I have given you. The 15 question I have given you the multiple choice question. So around 60%, and 12 questions was like you have to write down what is coming out. I think that is really like quite challenging. I agree with you. What about the time? Is that sufficient or was less or okay or could have been more or could have been less? Any comment on that with the timing?
The time was pretty good, I reckon. 2 hours, perfect.
Oh, thank you. It means, that was the hardest part for me, because 45 students you all are, right? I have to, I have to think about the mean value of the class in terms of timing. Somebody could have taken 1.5 hours, somebody, for them, it's not like enough. So I was worrying more about the like mean time of the classes.
In how many days we are getting the result of this?
In the past, how many days I took?
1 day. Or
One day,
even
but this time I will take some more time because the number of questions are bigger and I have like not the multiple choice questions all, so I have to keep like carefully. I have to go through each and every answer. I will take the printout of all the 45 answer sheets. I will check it and I will upload the marks. Then I will submit to the NSC. So it will be a long one, but probably within a week you can expect. Like,
Sure, if you can upload the answers.
Answers I can upload by today.
So that we
This is not
can
a
match,
problem.
yeah.
I have the answers, so I can upload it any time. I can show you the answers.
Okay.
Yes, but it takes a lot of preparation in terms of making the good questions, selecting the good questions, and then it requires lots of initial like homework from my side. But I'm happy that you guys like enjoyed a challenging question. That is good. Where is the answer sheet? Just let me open this one. Could not see the answer. Where is the answer? Okay, let me. Okay, there is one file which is not able to. Just hang on. Close some of the files. Then yeah. I think you can see your answers in front of me, like on your screen. No worries, I will upload these answers by today's evening. So it is there, so you don't have to worry about that. You have done your work. Thank you so much. So I will upload after this session. I will upload on the Moodle, and then you just have access on that. No worries on that one. Okay, let's start with the. I'm not sure about how our NTERM exam will go. It will be online or face to face. I'm talking about the NTERM exam. So still it is unclear, but let's see, like whatever. But I'm good that you guys are now more familiar with sitting on online for the exams and doing it. It's really good. It's really good. So let's go through the first exercise first. Keep all these 5 steps in your mind and we'll go one by one. So every one of you try this sum and we will do it together. A survey commissioned by some agency reported that 16% of the New Zealanders consume 5 or more serving of the drink per week. 16%. I'm sure it is a kind of what it is, a proportion is given. It's nowhere they're talking about the mean. So this case is clearly something about, you can think about is it's a confidence interval estimate for the proportion because the percentage is given. The data were obtained from online survey of 2006 randomly selected New Zealanders over the age of 15 years of the age. Sometimes it happens to me, I get confused with the numbers. 2006, sometimes it appears to me it's a like not the number, it's an year, right? I confused with 2016 or 2018. It appears in my mind that it is a kind of not a number of the sample size, it's something which is a year. So you need to be careful, right? It happens sometimes. And then the second, finally, like the last sentence says that calculate a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of the New Zealanders who report that they consume 5 or more serving of the soft drink per week. Think about this question, exercise 1. Is there any data regarding the population proportion? No. Right? So think about 95% confidence interval. Yeah, they're asking for a range at the 95% confidence interval. So let's go through one by one, all the stages, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and 4 and 5. So stage 1 is check for the value n p proportion and n 1 minus p proportion. Is that greater than equal to 5? Check for that. Okay, let me share the screen to you. So in this sum, what I was telling that the 16%, do you think is it a sample proportion or is it a population proportion? Can anybody argue on that? Is it a sample proportion or population proportion? 16%, I'm talking about the 16%. What do you think? It's a sample proportion P or the sample proportion P hat or sample proportion or population proportion P? Which one is this? 16%.
I think it's a sample.
Yes, because the first sentence, it is not clear. It seems like it is a population proportion, but the second line, second sentence, make it more clear that data were obtained from or by an online survey of 2006 randomly selected. So they are talking about the sample, not the complete population. So that is the merit you need to find out. Is it a sample proportion or is it a population proportion? So it's clearly it is mentioned clearly it is now clear that the 16% is a sample proportion, and that is denoted by p hat. So sample proportion 16% means p hat value is 0.16. Just check the first condition, np and n1 minus p. What is the n value? 2006. N value is 2006. Check the stage number, like step first, and I'm sure it will satisfy the condition np or greater than equal to 5, because 2000 10% is like itself 20, so I'm sure it is more than 5. What is the stage second? Step second says that find the critical value, that is z alpha by 2. What is the critical value? Critical value CV, z square alpha by 2. What is the value of alpha? It is given in the question. They are asking for 95% confidence level. Remember, confidence level 95%. So what is the corresponding alpha value? We have seen that alpha value is always 1 minus 0.95. For 95%, the alpha value is 0.05. That is the 5%. We have seen this one, right? So for the confidence interval 95%, the alpha value is 0.05. So what is the alpha by 2? Alpha by 2 will be 0.025. And the corresponding z score value at alpha by 2, use the z score table. How much we got it before we did this one? It's 1.96. This part is important, how to get the critical value. Are you able to understand the critical value, how to calculate the critical value?
Yeah.
95% they are asking. So alpha value, with this 95%, we understood that alpha is corresponding alpha value is 0.05. If it is 99%, alpha value will be 0.01. If it is 90%, alpha value will be 0.09. So in this case, it is 0.05. So the alpha, if you make it half, it is 0.025. So alpha by 2 is always in your curve. It is on the top string. The top, this is alpha by 2. Again, this is alpha by 2. So altogether it is alpha by 2 plus alpha by 2, alpha. So this is 95%. That's why alpha by 2 is 2.5%, 2.5%. And the remaining will be 95% in between. So they are asking for confidence interval 95%. This, and that's why, since we are not sure, that's why we are dividing the alpha in both the sides, the left one and right one. That's why it is alpha by 2 and alpha by 2, because we are not sure, and they are asking for the range which includes the both one. That's why it's alpha by 2 in both sides. So it's a common notation to get the critical value using the z alpha by 2. So for this sum, we got the critical value 1.96. So critical value z alpha by 2 is 1.96. Don't get confused with the minus one. It has to be the positive one, critical value. What is the stage number 3? Find the margin of error, right? Or error of margin or margin of error, right? So you need to find out E using formula z alpha by 2 into, what was the formula? P hat 1 minus p hat divided by n. Can you get this one? Alpha by 2 we got 1.96 into p hat value is given 0.16. 0.16 into 1 minus 0.16 is 1.84 divided by 2006 whole square root. Can you find out the value of E? Get the value of E. What is margin of error? Do this calculation. Yes, tell me.
0.016.
0.016.
0.16.
Others, can you confirm this one?
Yeah, I got that too.
Exactly. So I got like from 2 or 3 different, you're saying so 0.016. Okay. So now you got this E value is 0.016. Step number 4 is you need to find out. This is the answer, like find the confidence interval. So you know the interval is, what is the value? P hat minus E, P hat plus E. That is your interval, confidence interval. So P hat minus E. So what is P hat? 0.16 minus 0.016, 16 plus 0.016. So what is the interval you will get? One is 15 point something will come, just let me know. And the second one is very clear, 16.016. What is the first one? 16 minus 00, just it will come 15 point. Okay, let me do it by 15.984. Okay, 15.984, 16.106.
Wait, why is it 16? Is it not 0.16?
0 point?
No. Like P half. Is it not 0.16?
Yes, it is. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was considering, sorry, okay. I was considering 16, sorry.
Okay.
So now you tell me then.
So the answer is like for the 0.16 minus it's 0.144.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And the other one's like 0.176.
0.176. Okay, this one, okay, correct. And the second one? The first one?
0.144.
144.
Yeah.
Okay. Others, could you please check? I will. And those who have done it, can you think about the interpretation? How can you interpret this one? The answer? Go through the stage 5 in the slide. Interpretation is very important. That carries equal importance. Okay. Now interpretation. So you found the confidence interval, CI. So confidence interval, it came 0.144, 0.176, and it's saying that the estimate, it lies in between 0.144 and 0.176. Okay. The stage 5 is interpretation. You read the line on the slide. You read the line.
95%.
Exactly. So let me write once. We are 95%. It was given in the question. 95% confident that we are 95% confident that the interval from point 0.0144 right to 0.176 does contain the true value of the true value of, since this is the case of proportion, we'll say true value of the population proportion. If this could have been a case of proportion mean, we could have replaced the proportion with the mean, but this is the case of proportion. So proportion P. This is your interpretation. Try to visualize. I'm sure these 5 steps are clear for you guys. I'm sure, but try to visualize what is happening here. Can you see this one? Can I erase some of the steps on the front? Others? Is it okay? Did you get how to calculate the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 step one by one? Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just erasing on the top like some of the things, and I'm trying to, what I'm suggesting you try to visualize what is the finding. The finding is suggesting you very interesting. You see, you can visualize the sentences what we have written in stage 5. Try to visualize over here. What is the p hat value was? 0.16. I'm writing here 0.16. And what range we got? That is interesting. That is, oh, I have delayed. No, 0.146176. So 146. So this is somewhere over here. This is 0.144. This is 146. Okay, and this is 176. This is 0.176. And what we are saying that we are 95% confident that, see, we have only sample data and we are trying to extrapolate that findings for the population proportion. We don't have any data for the population proportion, but still using a sample proportion, we are finding, we are suggesting that 95% of the data will fall in this range. In this range of the population proportion. You see here in the range of 0.146 to 176. In this range, 95% confident means 95% of the data will fall under the in this range. Are you able to visualize that one?
Yes.
I think this is very important. Why I'm saying that? See, in this question we have taken only one sample, right? Imagine if somebody has taken another sample, and they might have received another value of the range confidence interval, maybe from this point to this point. This is one sample which we have taken, and it is showing this range. Another sample can have some value of range of 0.15 to 185. Another sample can have, the third one can have another value range. But what we are saying that we are 95% confident that it will fall under this range. We are 95% confident. If you make the same calculation for 99%, suppose that this question could be 99%. You know what will happen if it is if you consider this 99% of confidence interval, the range will be bit more, because for the 95%, 99%, your critical value will increase, right? For the 95%, the critical value is 1.9. So for the 99%, you check the critical value will be 2 point something, 13 or something. So the range this interval will be more wider if you consider 99% instead of 95%. So is it possible to consider 100% then? Why it is not wise to consider 100% then? Because see, the moment you are increasing from 95 to 96, 96 to 97, your interval ranges are increasing. So which one will be more accurate, low range or the bigger range? Always the lower range will be more accurate. If I'm saying that in this class of student, 40 student, mostly they have got 35 to 40 marks in the range of in the exam. If that will be more accurate, or in another sense, if I'm saying that most of the students they have received in the range of 20 to 50. So whenever the lower will be the range, it will be more accurate, it will be more precise, it will be more beneficial for the researcher and the statistician to make a kind of inference. But if the ranges is wider, it's not give you much more precision, and those findings will be not much of importance. That's why we should not go with the 100% precision, because if you will open it 100%, again the interval will be more and more wider. That will be a meaningless thing. That's why the ideal situation is 95% confidence level, which balances both. We have seen the reliability and the accuracy both. Does that make sense?
Wait, so you're saying 95% it's better than 99%?
95%, the interval will give the value, the interval range will be better than 99%.
Okay, all right.
If you do the same calculation with 99%, your critical value will be changed from 1.96 to 2 point something. So your range will be more wider if you consider 99%. So which one is, as a researcher, which one will be more accurate for you, more confined? You will be, the shorter the range, you will be more confined. Your findings will be more important, more valid. If you are come up with the shorter range. But more and more wider one is not valid. That's why there is no concept such as like 100% of confidence interval. That will be meaningless. Try to analyze what I'm saying, but probably over a period of time it will come to your mind. But anyway, did you understand this one? All 5 steps? Okay. Go through the exercise second now. Let me go through the slide. Exercise second. You have to follow each and every time these 5 steps. Unfortunately, if it will be an online exam, I won't be able to see the steps which you are following. Only I will be interested in answer, the final answer. But keep in mind, these steps are very, very important. Go through the exercise second. In a Google research study, 5,013 randomly selected smartphone users were asked about how much they use their phones. In response to a question about the purchases, 2,657 reported that they purchased an item after using their smartphone to search for the information about that item. You know, this is the general habit of generally we do it, right? As in being, we search for the information after buying, and then we look for the purchasing another stuff. After reading this information, what do you think? What is given? Is there anything you came across that they are talking about population or any population proportion? No, nothing. But they are talking about something randomly selected some sample with the n equal to 5,030, and they are saying that out of 5,013, around 30% or 40% of them, they said that, well, yes, they said yes to some particular question. So this question is not about mean anywhere.
Proportion.
Exactly. So proportion, either they have given you certain percentage, 40% of the students fail means the 40 out of 100, or otherwise you have 2 data. One is the sample size, and second one is the sample of your interest. So if you remember the p hat is how to define, how to get the p hat, sample proportion, that is the item of your interest divided by sample size. So what are the item of your interest? What is the number of items for our interest? 2657, because they reported yes. So that I'm interested in those who said yes. So that is 2,657 is the item of my interest, and total size is 5,013. So how to calculate the proportion? What is the proportion?
Divided, it's 0.53.
So 2653. So how to calculate proportion P? Proportion P will be I'm writing here in the corner. I'm sure you will be able to see that. Let me change into this one. Okay. So I'm writing the proportion P hat is the sample, the item of our interest, that is 2657 divided by total number of size, sample size, that is 5030. How much is the P hat value?
153.
How much? 0.53 or
She said 3.
3. Yes, 0.53. Okay. You got the P hat value and you have N value also. The same one we use, right? 5013. Can we check the first condition? Is it a condition for the, because we know the 5 stages, right? Can you see the NP hat or N1 minus P hat? Is that greater than equal to 5? Does that criteria meet in this case? I'm just taking a guess, like 0.53. Around 50% and P is 5,000. Oh my God, it's more than 2,000. So I'm sure both the value will be greater than 5. So that condition has met. What is the second one? Find out the critical value. Critical value CB, Z alpha by 2. What is the alpha here? In this case, see, read the question. Again, this one is 95% confidence level. So alpha value is 0.05. So what is the Z alpha by 2? Either you can remember this table, otherwise you just go through the Z score table, you will get the same value. So at 95% critical value is, again, we have calculated 1.96. Third one, calculate the margin of error, that is E. So Z alpha by 2, 1.96 into P. P value is 0.53 into 1 minus P, 0.47 divided by 5013. What is the value of E? Can you calculate this one? Find the value. And if others, if you're not understanding, just let me know.
0.014.
Let others to do 0.014.
14. Is that right?
Yeah, I got 1.013, but yeah.
138. So 1.
Yes, 138. Okay. 0.138. Okay, 0.0138, right? 0.0138. Let others to get this one. Trying to be a bit slow. Let others to do this one. And if you get the E value, the fourth one is confidence interval, CI. You will get, how to calculate this one? 0.53 minus 0.0138, 0.53 plus 0.0138. What is the answer? Tell me. 0.5162 and 5438. Did you get this interval?
Yes.
Others?
Yeah.
Stage 5, you need to conclude it. Remember, in the exam, because I started making the question for the NTEM exam, so probably it will be a part of, even maybe what I will do is I will break the big question into the different parts. Probably like this calculation will be 2 marks, or this one for 1 mark, or this one is 1 mark, and the confidence, the final interpretation is for 1 mark, and total it will be for 5 marks. So I can do something like this. So understanding and writing even the final stage is important. So you need to be careful with the sentence. So we are 95% confident that So that is important here. So we are 95% confident that interval from 0.5162 to 0.5438 does contain the true value of the population proportion P. That you have to full stop, and that will be your answer.
Or population proportion, or I thought we were working with sample proportion.
Yes, exactly. So we are doing, this is again, you try to understand, very good question. See, two different things. One is sample statistics.
Yeah.
And using the sample statistics, we are trying to interpret something for the population proportion. We don't know anything about the population proportion. So why we are calculating this confidence interval? We are suggesting that using this value, sample proportion, sample statistics, this can be generalized over the population proportion.
Okay.
Because we have taken this sample from what?
From the sample proportion.
Exactly. We have taken this sample from the sample proportion, but we don't have any data for the sample proportion. So using this sample statistics, that's what I was trying from the beginning.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to convey this one from the beginning. So using the sample statistics, these are the sample statistics based on the sample data. Nowhere we are talking about the population parameter, any of the parameter. But using the sample statistics, we are trying to draw a conclusion. We are trying to make inferences for the population proportion, which I am not aware of. So at least using this one, if I can extrapolate, at least I can get a sense of something for the population proportion, and that was our objective.
Okay.
To make some sort of conclusion regarding the population proportion, for which we have nothing. Because ultimately, if I'm taking a sample, what is the purpose of taking a sample? So that I can generalize it for the bigger one. Very good question. Thank you for pointing out this one.
Okay, thanks.
So that's why in the final sentence, the stage number 5, we are saying that we are confident, this much of percent of confidence that this statistics belongs to the population proportion P.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes you guys are asking a very good question. I'm really, I sincerely thanks to you, because it makes our journey altogether very easy. And by this way, others are also getting to understand the things very clear manner. Thank you so much. So, okay, for today's, we have the last question, exercise number 3. And the same thing we will do. From now onwards, the confidence interval, we will do it. So in the next class, we will do the confidence interval estimate for the mean. And then we will move to the hypothesis testing, again, a higher level of inferential statistics. Okay, just explore the first exercise number 3 now. The operation manager at the large newspaper wants to estimate the proportion of the newspaper printed that have a non-conforming attributes. Non-conforming means something which is not up to the standards. Non-conforming means they are not up to the standard or the guidelines which has been set, such as excessive rub-off, improper page setup, missing pages, etc., etc. See, like the application of this sort of sum in the practical life, and this is the real situation. How this sort of analysis, inferential statistics, helps the manager to take the decision. So they said something about the population proportion, but no data they have given, because it is unknown. See, how can somebody can take a population data if a manager, operation manager, every day millions of pages or millions of the booklets are preparing, right? I can't take as a whole. So what I will take, generally take a sample of 200 newspapers. That's what they did. A random sample of 200 newspapers is selected from all the newspaper printed during the day, millions of the newspaper. But and as in the sample, we took only 200. So in this sample, 35 contains some type of non-conformance that we have already defined, non-conforming attributes such as something. So they were not proper. So what are the items for our interest? 35 items contains non-conformance out of 200. So the case is purely the proportion, right? Sample proportion, because the sample has been taken and this talking about the proportion, not the mean. So again, and then finally, construct and interpret both. The construct, that is the CI, stage 4, and interpret is the stage 5, how to interpret the findings. So the construct and interpret a 90% confidence interval. You know, as a manager, I can say I'm 95% confident that the error will lie in this range. So before making such a statement, you need to do some sort of homework or some sort of basic calculation. That's what we are learning here. So construct and interpret a 90% confidence interval for the proportion of newspaper printed during the day that have a non-conforming attribute. And with this data, with this finding, you will go and make a presentation in front of company top level executive, and you'll say that I'm confident, 90% confident that we are doing this percentage of something good. And based on that, the company top manager will take further decisions. So decision making, ultimately, why we are doing all this calculation? Just to improve the decision making. And because the world is not perfect, the information is imperfect, we don't have all the data, and getting a more and more data is costlier as well, right? Keeping all those challenges in mind, so you need to go ahead with the small sample as best as you can do that. So what is there? The proportion, right? So item of interest are 35 are non-conforming. Yes, 35, right? 35 items are non-conforming. So the proportion will be 35 divided by total 200. So it's very clear, very much clear. 17.5, 0.715, isn't it? I think so. 17.5. So yes, 0.175 is your population proportion. What is the n value? Clearly it is given 200. So now you find out n into p, 200 into 10%, 20, greater than 5. Yes, it meets the criteria. Even 1 minus p, even that will be 0.8 into 6, around 160, greater than 5. Criteria has met. The first criteria, first condition has met. Why we are keep on forcing that this criteria has to be met? Because this criteria, remember that we have the, what is the, which theorem? Critical theorem. I forgot that. Anybody can remember that one? Which theorem? Critical. There is a theorem, right, which suggests that if the sample size is more, the curve will lead to the curve will be approximately, it will be a normally distributed. Central limit theorem. Why you guys forgetting? I don't know. Central limit theorem. We are applying the use. This is the application of central limit theorem. Are you able to recall or not?
Yes.
So this is a central limit theorem which suggests that if sample size is enough, more, the curve of this, we don't know. Even in the question, it is not given that it is normally distributed. Given? No. Nowhere it is saying that. So stating of nowhere they are mentioning that. But yeah, we have an assumption based on the critical limit theorem. That is the assumption that the bigger sizes, in the case of bigger sample size, the curve could lead to the normal distribution. And since it is a normal distribution, that's why we are able to apply the Z-score value, right? Keep in mind, Z-score table is for the normally distributed curve, not for everyone. If it is not normally distributed, no, we are not using the Z-score table. So this criteria is very, very important. Based on that, only we can apply, we can go the Z-score value and we can find, otherwise not. The moment you get this one, probably, maybe I can do it in the exam. I can set less than some of the example where less than it will be 5. And if you proceed and move, maybe you will waste your time as well, understanding and kind of thing. So be careful, like the condition has to be. Just do it, like just do it, like basically you just check 200 into 0.7, okay, it will be around 34, more than 5. Fine, go ahead with that. Stage 2, critical value. See, in this case, the critical value has got changed. Critical value at Z alpha by 2. What is alpha here? Not 95. In this case, it is 0.01. What is alpha by 2?
So isn't it point
0.005. No. 0.
No. 1, yeah, and 0.05?
0.05, right? Yeah. 0.05. No?
So the alpha value is 0.1.
Sorry, it's not. Okay, it's okay. It's 91. I thought 99%. Okay. So it is alpha is 0.10.
Yeah.
So then it is 0.05. Now it is correct. So if alpha by 2 is 0.0, find out the Z-score table, right?
1.64.
Even if you are not able to recall, this is 0.05. So what is the Z or this critical value over here at this point? So what is the area for this side? Area is 0.95. At 0.95, use the Z-score table and find out this critical value.
1.64.
1.645. Exactly. So the Z-score, the critical value 1.645 we got. So the Z value is 1.645. Stage 3rd, that is CR. No. This is the margin of error, right? E value. Error value is Z alpha by 2, that is 1.645 into P value is 0.175. 1 minus 1.575 is 0.825. Very good. Divide by 200. Tell me what is the value of A?
0.044.
0.044. Others?
Yep.
Is it the same?
Yep, that's right.
So how do you get 1.645?
1.645. You could have asked me that time itself. I erased. Either you can use this table. Let me tell you both the things. If suppose, yeah, could you see on this table? 95%. What is the alpha by 2? 0.05. And what is the critical value? 1.645.
Okay,
From the table, it is clear?
yes, sir.
Okay, let's do it. If suppose you don't have this table, you can do it in the curve also. So 1 point, yeah. So this area is given, alpha by 2 is 0.05. So what is the remaining area? This side, 0.95. So can you find using the Z-score table? What is the value here? Z-score value using at the area 0.95, find out the Z-score value. How much it is there? Use the Z-score table. If you use the Z-score table for the area 0.95, it will give you the Z-score 1.645. And that was your question. How you get the 1.645? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So you got the critical value. Okay. Now find out the confidence interval now. Okay. What is the E value? 0.044. Does everybody get that?
Yep.
Others, please confirm. The E value is how much?
That's right.
0.0269. No. Okay, yeah. So what is the E value? 0.044. Okay. What is the confidence interval you are getting? Confidence interval will be 0.175 minus 0.044.
0.131. Yeah, that
Yeah, 0.1308.
1.
Yes, I have written from, yeah. Okay. And what is the another value?
0.175 plus 0.044 is 0.219.
Exactly. 0.2192. Yes, very good. 0.175 plus 0.044. So this is the confidence interval, we got it. Just match your answer, and even the answer is given at the bottom of the slide. The same answer. And the stage 5 now. That is the interpretation of the answer. So again, let me go through this slide. Yes. So step 5, interpretation of the result. We are, in this case, 95%. No, we are, you need to be careful what is given in the answer. So instead of 95 or instead of 90, if you're writing 95, it will be wrong, completely wrong. So we are 90% confident that the interval from 0.1308 to 0.2192 does contain the true value of the population proportion P. Full stop. Job is done. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All good?
Yes.
So now you can ask if you have any doubt, you can ask. That's what was like our objective today, to understand the sample estimate, confidence interval estimate of proportion. So we were only dealing with the sample proportion, the value of P hat. Nowhere we dealt with P, that is the population proportion. But earlier we dealt with in the sample proportion, sampling proportion of mean and proportion. What we were doing, we were using the P, population proportion. It was given, but over here this was not the case. So it's just a reverse way. Through the sample statistics, we are trying to project, we are trying to generalize something about regarding the population proportion. Same thing we will do with the mean the next time. The confidence interval of the mean, the sampling, the sample statistics will try to generalize for the population mean, not the population proportion. Similar thing we will do, but maybe the different formulas and different way of, we'll see that.
So on Monday, class is 8 to 12, right? It's
Yes, let me repeat this one. In the Monday, we have morning classes. So 10 to 12 is our regular classes, but on top of, not top of that, it's on down of that, we have 8 to 10. So altogether 8 to 12, we have a longer range. I was thinking initially to have one quiz and all, but I think it will be too early to start with the quiz and all. So we'll try to take 1 or 2 small break. Don't worry.
No quiz
Probably
on Monday?
No. Monday, since we don't have, I think we can't justify. Today you had already one test and again the next. So I can't like justify myself like why there is a like continuous one. So okay, let's give some time. So there will be no quiz on Monday.
So would it be on like not this coming Monday, but the next Monday then?
Probably no, next Monday and next one. Only 2 are remaining, so we are in the week 8 now, right? So week 9, 10, 11, 12. So 5 more weeks are there. Don't worry.
We're gonna have another exam as well.
Which exam?
Exam, like are we gonna have another exam or no?
finals.
Now you have only the 2 quiz and final exam is remaining. So yes, final exam you have. Final exam you have.
Okay.
Final exam is for, I think it's for 35 marks. Today it was like altogether I said the question for the 40 marks, but actually it contributes 20%. So what I will do, the total marks will be half. So if you are getting suppose 38, you will get on Moodle 19. just half of your marks. Did you get that?
I don't understand.
Yes.
You can explain again.
27 questions I asked you. Some of the questions were 1 mark, some of the questions were 2 marks.
Yep.
So if you count total marks, it will come 40.
Okay.
But this midterm exam is just for the 20%, means out of 100 I can give you maximum 20 marks for this component or assessment. So if suppose you are getting 25 marks out of 40, you won't see the 25 on Moodle. I will just make it half, 12.5, and I upload on the Moodle. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
And sir, is the finals, does it cover week 1 all the way to week 13, or just from like week 8 to week 13?
For the final one,
Yeah.
probably most of the part will be for the second half, means the remaining one.
But there will be some from week 1 to 7.
I think it will be, it depends on me. I will keep around 20-25%, not more than that.
Okay.
Because already many times through the quizzes, through the midterm exam, also you went through those one. But if you will not give the more emphasis on this half, the next 4-5 weeks, probably we will not do the justice. Like we probably will fail to evaluate your intelligence on the second half. So let it be like more will be, say 70-75% will be on this second half. And remember, now onwards, whatever we are learning, it will be more challenging. Especially, I found difficulty in terms of communicating how to teach you the hypothesis and all. So for some of them, it will be really challenging to understand. So make yourself mentally prepared. I will take you as smooth as possible. That is my promise to you. I won't let you down, but yes, you need to try from your side also to understand some of the things.
Okay.
So it will be quite challenging to go through the next 3 or 4 weeks. The concepts are a bit complex, so you need to be more careful, and you need to put your extra time sometimes to understand the things, make the things yourself like more clearer. Is that clear?
Thank you, sir.
So I'm closing now, and hope to see you on Monday, 8 morning. Fine. And
Yep.
thank you once again for showing a positive attitude towards the midterm exam. It was a great challenge. Even some of my seniors, they were suggesting you're taking a big risk in terms of, but anyway, now I'm happy that, and thank you for the cooperation. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Please
sir.
please check those who have not confirmed, or if you have any doubt, please check your sent item once again. And if you think it has gone, be happy. No need to worry. See you then. Bye. Take care and stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.